Dark, icy winds sweep across the northern Ural Mountains. The year is 1959. In the middle of the Cold War, when the Soviet Union was locked in secrecy, a group of 9 young adventurers set out on a skiing expedition that should have been challenging, but safe. Instead, they stumbled into one of the most enduring unsolved mysteries of the 20th century. When their camp was discovered, investigators found a scene so bizarre it has fueled speculation for decades. Tents slashed open from the inside, personal belongings left behind, and bodies scattered across the snow, some with injuries so violent they defied explanation. To this day, no single theory fully explains what happened on that mountain slope, now forever known as Dyatlov Pass. Tonight, we're going to retrace their steps, uncover the evidence, and explore the chilling possibilities. The hikers, the story begins not with tragedy, but with youth, laughter, and adventure. The expedition was led by Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old engineering student at the Ural Polytechnic Institute. Known for his discipline and leadership, Igor was the kind of person others trusted in dangerous conditions. His friends often described him as serious, focused, but with a quiet sense of humor. Alongside him were 8 others, Zinaida Kolmogorova, or Zina, a lively 22-year-old who often kept spirits high with jokes and banter. Her diary would later give chilling glimpses of their final days. Lyudmila Dubinina, 20, passionate, outspoken, and determined. She was known for being tough, the kind of person who didn't back down from challenges. Rustam Slobodin, 23, a strong athlete, always pushing himself, known for his endurance. Yuri Doroshenko, 21, courageous and bold. Once, during a previous expedition, he had chased away a bear with nothing but a geologist's hammer. Yuri Krivonishenko, 23, the joker of the group, always ready with a laugh. Alexander Kolovatov, 20, quiet, intelligent, known for his analytical mind. Nikolai Thibault Brignol, 23, a man of French descent, thoughtful and well-liked. Semyon Zolotaryov, 38, a last-minute addition to the group, older, a military veteran of World War II. His presence would later add layers of suspicion to the case. And finally, there was a 10th man, Yuri Yudin. Early in the trek, he fell ill and had to turn back. He would live to tell the story, and forever bear the guilt of being the only one who survived. The journey begins on January 23rd, 1959. The group set out by train, their skis strapped to the roof, laughter filling the compartments. They documented everything, diaries, photos, even playful songs around the campfire. For them, this wasn't just a trip. Completing this route would earn them a coveted Grade 3 hiking certification, the highest difficulty. The weather was brutal, freezing winds, deep snow, but they were experienced. They pressed on, crossing rivers, passing through the last inhabited village of Vijay, where they stocked up on supplies and chatted with locals. As they moved into the wilderness, their diaries reflected their optimism. Igor's leadership was strong, Zina joked about the hardships, and even Dubinina, known for her sternness, described moments of laughter. But then, one by one, obstacles began to mount. Yuri Yudin fell ill with joint pain and reluctantly turned back. In his goodbye, he later recalled, he had no idea it would be the last time he'd see his friends alive. The group pressed on without him. The deeper they went, the heavier the storms became. Their skis cut through snowdrifts, their breath visible in the icy air. On February 1st, they made camp on the slopes of Kholat Syakhl. Why they chose such an exposed site instead of sheltering in the forest remains a point of debate. Some believe Igor wanted to practice survival skills in the harshest conditions. Others believe it was simply too late in the day to move farther. That night, the storm howled across the mountain. Their tent stood against the wind, a fragile refuge. It was the last night of their lives. The search and discovery days passed. Families grew worried when no telegram arrived. The return date had come and gone. At first, authorities dismissed concerns. Delays in such expeditions weren't unusual. But by February 20th, pressure mounted. Students, teachers, and eventually the Soviet military organized a search. Blizzards, low visibility, and deep snow made the mission difficult. But on February 26th, the first clue was found, the hiker's tent. It was half buried in snow. But what shocked rescuers was that the tent had been cut open from the inside. Boots, coats, food, all left behind. Footprints in the snow led down the slope toward the forest. Some barefoot, some in socks. Rescuers followed them, and 1.5 kilometers away, at the edge of the forest, they made a horrifying discovery. The first two bodies, Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonoshchenko, lay beneath a cedar tree near the remnants of a small fire. They wore only underwear, barefoot in the snow. The branches above them were broken, as though they had desperately climbed the tree. Nearby, 3 more bodies were found: Igor Dyatlov, Zina Kolmogorova, and Rustam Slobodin. They were spaced out, as though they had tried to crawl back to camp. Their positions suggested desperation, confusion, and suffering. But the true horror was yet to be found. 2 months later, when the snow thawed, the remaining 4 hikers were discovered in a ravine, buried under 4 meters of snow. And their injuries defied explanation. The autopsies. The bodies told a story stranger than fiction. Rustam Slobodin had a fractured skull, but no external wounds. Doctors said the injury could not have been from a simple fall. Lyudmila Dubinina had broken ribs, massive internal bleeding, and was missing her tongue, eyes, and part of her lips. Semyon Zolotaryov also had broken ribs, his chest caved in with immense force. Nikolai Thibault-Brignoles had a severe skull fracture, again without external trauma. Doctors compared the internal injuries to those of a car crash. But how could hikers in the middle of the wilderness suffer such force without obvious wounds? Adding to the mystery, traces of radiation were found on some clothing. Some bodies were unnaturally tanned with grayish hair. Witnesses at the funerals described them as deeply unnatural in appearance. The Soviet investigators eventually closed the case with the vague conclusion: the hikers died due to an unknown compelling force. But what was that force? The theories over the decades, countless theories have tried to solve the Dyatlov mystery. Let's break them down. 1. Avalanche. The official 2019 Russian investigation declared it a slab avalanche. A block of snow collapsed onto the tent, forcing the group to flee. Panic set in. Hypothermia claimed most, and injuries came from falling into the ravine. But critics argue the slope was too shallow. Snow science doesn't match the site. And why cut the tent instead of calmly unzipping it? 2. Katabatic winds and infrasound. Some scientists believe hurricane-force winds created low-frequency sound waves. These can cause nausea, panic, and irrational behavior. Could the hikers have fled in terror only to die in the cold? Possible, but it doesn't explain the crushing injuries. 3. Military experiments. The Urals were near Soviet test ranges. Theories suggest parachute mines or experimental weapons caused the trauma. Radiation evidence adds fuel here. Perhaps the hikers saw something they weren't meant to see. Perhaps they became test subjects in the wrong place, at the wrong time. 4. The Yeti theory. Strange, large footprints were rumored. Some point to a diary entry joking about snowmen. Could something inhuman have attacked? The theory is sensational but difficult to prove. 5. UFOs. Witnesses in nearby villages reported glowing orange orbs in the sky on the night of the tragedy. Could the group have encountered something otherworldly? Their injuries, radiation, and missing body parts fuel this possibility. 6. Paranormal theories. From Mansi tribal curses to interdimensional anomalies, some believe the hikers stumbled into something beyond our understanding. A place where the natural world bent, and the cost was their lives. The aftermath. The case was buried in Soviet secrecy. Families were silenced. Files were sealed. Only after the collapse of the Soviet Union did documents resurface, reigniting debate. Books, documentaries, and endless theories followed. The mountain was renamed Dyatlov Pass in grim memory of Igor Dyatlov. Even today, hikers visit the site, leaving memorials in the snow. But the questions remain: what killed them? Was it nature, human secrecy, or something beyond belief? The Dyatlov Pass Incident isn't just a story of death in the mountains. It's a reminder that even in our modern world, mysteries exist that refuse explanation. 9 hikers went into the snow, full of laughter, songs, and dreams. What they encountered remains locked in that frozen night. And until the mountain gives up its secret, the Dyatlov Pass will whisper its terrible mystery to the wind.